In today's video, I am going to explain important muscle anatomy for front split. This stretching requires good flexibility and stabilization of muscles. I am going to explain related anatomy of muscle for front split. I would like to explain for back leg in first part, and on second part I'm going to explain for front leg. Okay, her left leg is stretched out. This is on posterior part. Left side is on back side. So what kind of muscles need to be stretched? Basically, her anterior hip muscles require good flexibility. What kind of muscles are there? Let me explain that. First two muscles are very deep muscle. First one is this one, and next one is this one. This is psoas. This is psoas, and this one is iliacus. These muscles together, it is sometimes called iliopsoas. Iliopsoas. Why are these two muscles so important? They originate from deep part of lumbar spines and deep part of ilium. Okay, important thing is they start from deep part. It's like, say this is her abdomen and lumbar spine. Psoas originates from lumbar spine like this, and iliacus originates from pelvis like this. They are very deep. If they are very tight, if psoas and iliacus are tight, you cannot stretch out this leg like this, because function of psoas and iliacus is hip flexion. Your leg goes up. So this is function of iliacus and psoas. If you bring your leg backward, your psoas and iliacus need to be stretched out. Thus, if these muscles are tight, you can't bring leg this way, so you can't get good flexibility. That's very important muscle, right? Psoas and iliacus. And what else? What kind of muscles are on anterior part? It's like this one. This is tensor fascia lata. Tensor fascia lata. Function of this muscle is also hip flexion. Hip flexion. So it needs to be stretched out for backside leg, right? Anything else? Let's say this one. This is sartorius. This is thin, long muscle. It's on anterior part of pelvis and thigh. So function is flexion. And one last one from this video is this one. This is rectus femoris. Rectus femoris is part of quadriceps, but rectus femoris is only muscle among quadriceps that attaches to pelvis. Thus, rectus femoris is not only for knee movement, but it's also important for hip movement. Then let's go back to real person. Psoas, iliacus, rectus femoris, sartorius, tensor fascia lata. They are all in front of hip and pelvis. So for backside leg, hip flexors need good flexibility. Then let's go to anterior leg. What kind of muscles need good flexibility? Answer is backside of lower extremity. What kind of muscles are there? This is posterior view. Main muscle group on posterior thigh is this one. This is hamstrings. Hamstrings. There are three muscles in hamstrings, but I'm not gonna talk about too much detail about each muscle. Simply, it's hamstrings. function of hamstrings is extension. It's like this backside leg. But this is, contraction of hamstrings. What is position of this leg? This is hip flexion. That's completely opposite movement from hamstrings function. This leg is in flexion position, hip flexion position. Thus, your hamstrings need good flexibility in order to get good length on anterior part. Does it make sense? Flexibility of hamstrings is important for forward bending stretching. So her right leg is kind of doing forward bending stretching, right? Hamstrings is important for anterior leg, for front split. Then, if you focus on her ankle joint, her toes are facing up. That means her ankle is on dorsiflexion position. What can I say? So, her gastrocnemius and soleus are also stretched out. Gastrocnemius, soleus. These two muscles are calf muscle. If you want to point out toe this way, gastro and soleus don't need flexibility because in the toe pointing out position, these two muscles are relaxed. But in toe up position, now you need good flexibility for calf muscles. Think about it. Hamstrings and calf muscles are on back side of lower extremity. Thus, they need to be very flexible for anterior leg. Now, there are muscles that requires good flexibility. Hip flexors for back leg and hip extensors and calf muscles for front part of leg. Then, same time, you need good stability for hip and pelvis. What kind of muscles are important? Alright, I'm going to explain a little bit about hip stabilizers. Okay, main hip stabilizers. What I think important is these tiny muscles. They are very deep muscles. These muscles together, it is called deep lateral rotators. Deep lateral rotator of hip. Yep, that's deep and very tiny. Main function is external rotation of hip. Of course, they move hip joint, but same time, they are important to stabilize hip joint because they are tiny. If size of muscle gets smaller and smaller, they are important for joint stabilizer. Like, think about it. There's gluteus maximus. That's huge muscle. It is a huge joint mover, but it's not that important for hip stabilization. Rather, these tiny muscles are more important for joint stabilization. It's important. Tiny muscle is important. Next, two muscles. First one is this one. This is gluteus medius. Gluteus medius, and deep to gluteus medius, there is gluteus minimus. They are not as big as gluteus maximus. Again, when size of muscle gets smaller and smaller, they are more important for joint stabilization. So think about with this real person. Deep lateral rotators are on posterior part of hip. They are both important for backside leg and front part of leg. And for gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, they are about here. They are important to stabilize hip and pelvis. If they are too tight or too weak, maybe hip joint goes external rotation or internal rotation. It depends on where tightness is and where weakness is. To maintain good straight leg, these joint stabilizers are important. So for front split stretching, your muscles need good flexibility. Plus, your muscle requires good stability. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button comment and subscribe. See you next video.